Just neutralized objective Alpha. This is the objective I want you to defend. Listen up. Objective Foxtrot has been taken. Hostile heavy over. Due west of your position. Let me repair your right. Objective Charlie has been lost. Have eyes on hostile heavy armor, just west of your position. I spotted a hostile tank, due south of your current position. Listen up. We have just taken control of Objective Alpha. Attack this objective. Objective Foxtrot is lost.
I think that was it.
Flying in west of your position. I'm eyes on enemy helicopter with west of communication. Be advised, Objective Charlie has just been neutralized. South of your location. We lost Objective Alpha.
Can't move the fuck.
Hostile helicopter to the north of your position. This is the objective I want you to attack. Objective Alpha is neutralized.
Damn, cat.
Objective Bravo has been lost. North of your location is an enemy vehicle.
This, you fucking moved to, damn! Pissing on the fucking floor.
I spotted an enemy tank south of your position. Objective Bravo has just been neutralized.
Bitch! This is motherfucker.
Objective Foxtrot has just been lost. Could a mechanic take a look at my right, please? Be advised, we just neutralized Objective Foxtrot. Be advised, Objective Foxtrot is now under our control. This is the current objective.
What you laughing at for?
Objective Alpha is neutralized. There appears to be an enemy AG soldier south of the location. Objective Alpha is now under our control. Lost objective Charlie. I have eyes on hostile AG soldiers south of your position. This is the objective I want you to attack. Attack this objective.
Yeah, get in there.
Be right, objective Charlie is now under our control. have hostile chopper. Just west of where you are at. Ground control for Objective Go. There appears to be an enemy tank west of your current location. Thanks. Eyes on enemy helicopter, west of your position. Objective is our target. The hostile tank is west of your position.
Damn.
Objective. Have eyes on enemy vehicle just south of your location.
Oh, you bitch.
Attacker this objective. I need a mechanic over here.
Damn.
Power on. Ready to pair. Paired successfully.
Wait up! I need a ride! I have eyes on an enemy helicopter just north of your location. This is the objective I want you. The advice objective Charlie is now under our control. Attack this objective. There's a hostile tank west of your position.
Chat. Other than Reigns and Rollins, the Rumble was trash. Honestly believe WWE is literally trying to destroy the Rumble. It's well beyond destroyed. It's already destroyed. Vince is just pissing on the fucking ass. And Bruce flopping all the way to the back. We've got Bubba Lee. We've got Vince's head down. And he is doing something to us.
Attack this objective.
What's up, man? Thank you so much. Put in the tip there, man. Easy to use. $40 from St. Louis.
Objective is
Fox
on
Studios with $11.99 Super Chat. Today's my 42nd birthday, and Vince and Bruce decided to give me a mediocre Royal Rumble. First of all, happy birthday, late. I try to get late from the chance. And number two, yes, the Rumble was
motherfucker.
Danny Boy, 1320 with a $5 Super Chat. Very disappointing.
He's so dead time, motherfucker.
Gerald Cormier with a $2 Super Chat. Will we see the return of Mr. 9 to 5 in WWE 2K22? I don't even know if I'm buying it, bro. We haven't seen 1 ounce of fucking gameplay yet. As soon as they show me play, I will make a determination on whether I will buy it or not. Phil with a $4.99 Super Chat. This Rumble was god-awful. Yes, it was, bro. It was absolutely god-awful. Bad endings all around. As soon as Brock lost the title, I knew he was winning the Rumble. The road to WrestleMania is on. Trevor Spinelli for the $9.99 Super Chat. Absolutely disappointing show tonight. Came home from college to watch with my wrestling friend dealing with the concussion. His show did not help.
Before we get into this week's case, there is a movie out about the Reigns brothers. The movie is called He Went That Way. I have not seen the movie, but you might want to check it out after listening to this episode.
Jennifer vanished sometime in the overnight hours.
Right now, there is no trace.
Investigators say evidence leads them to believe that she's dead.
Stick my nose back on the trail. That's all I can do.
This is already gone.
Usually, when siblings engage in crimes, they do it together. It's a family affair, if you will. But not Larry and Danny Reigns. They were both violent, they were both killers, and they operated separate from each other. This week's story takes us to the west side of Michigan, to Kalamazoo. We'll start with the 1940s with the birth of the Reigns children. There were 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. Danny was born in 1943, and Larry was born in 1945. The patriarch of the Reigns family abandoned them in the early 1950s, leaving their mother to take a job working nights to keep the family afloat. According to one of the Reigns girls, their upbringing was not happy, nor was it normal. She said there was no, quote, moral training in her home. And today we're going to start with the crimes of Larry Reigns. Larry dropped out of high school in grade 10. This is about the same time he got into trouble for stealing a car. However, the charges were dismissed. In 1962 and 1963, Larry spent some time in the military, but he didn't last. According to his brother, Larry was court-martialed 3 times while in the service. It was toward the end of 1963 that Larry attempted suicide. He was found in a parked car with the engine running and a hose from the exhaust pipe fed back into the vehicle. Larry was saved by a good Samaritan and revived. He was then admitted to the Kalamazoo State Hospital for psychiatric treatment on Christmas Eve, 1963. While receiving treatment at the hospital, he was diagnosed with sociopathic personality. One of his psychiatrists wrote, quote, "While in the service, the counts of barracks, cannons, and the theft of a 5-cent bag of potato chips were sufficient reasons to justify an attempt with butcher knives to remove the causal irritant, if necessary, by murder." Or, more plainly stated, he tried to kill someone over a bag of chips.
Okay.
While Lee's behavior was concerning, his stay in the hospital was relatively short. He was discharged on January 6, 1964.
Enemy
While
helicopter.
leaving the
East of your
hospital,
gun
he moved
position.
to a boarding house in Kalamazoo. This brings us to spring 1964. May 30th was a cool but sunny day in Kalamazoo. It was nearly 6 p.m. when a state trooper found an abandoned car in the Stadium Drive overpass over U.S. 139 outside Kalamazoo. While looking over the car, he noticed blood stains on the bumper. Now, I want to note that this is a well-traveled area. The car was not found in some remote corner of the community.
Boom!
Troopers checked radio to see if the driver was in custody when the car left behind, but now the owner, a man named Gary Albert Smith, was not in custody.
Location appears to be the enemy helicopter. Objective Alpha has just been
Gary
neutralized.
Smith was a math and science teacher and state president of the Church of God Michigan Youth Fellowship. He was married to a woman named Thelma, and the couple had 2 daughters, aged 4 and 6 months, in the spring of 1964. They lived in the Detroit suburb of Plymouth. Not long after the trooper radioed in about the car, Thelma's son appeared at the sheriff's department. She was concerned with her husband's diarrhea. He dropped her off at her mother's the day before and said to be back with her aunt, but he never
Objective
returned.
Alpha is under our
She
control.
had to wait 24 hours to report him missing, and that's what she was doing, reporting that her husband was missing. So while she was standing on the phone, she used the car to run over the radio, describing the abandoned car. She told the deputy, "That's Gary's vehicle." Gary's car was then towed to the Paw Paw post. A car dealer made a key to open the trunk. Once it was opened, Gary's body was found face down. He was wearing a neat business suit with his shoes removed, and his hands were tied behind his back
Dang.
with a clothesline. Gary had been shot in the head with a .22 caliber gun. Police thought it was possible that Gary was killed elsewhere rather than where the vehicle was found. So there's 2 things of note about the car. One, they knew Gary stopped at a filling station on the 29th. His car was found just a few miles from that station. Also, they knew Gary would pick up hitchhikers. He was the type of fellow that would go out of his way to help and support people. This led police to theorize that Gary Smith picked up a hitchhiker for travel. Police launched a manhunt into the person responsible for Gary's murder. In the early hours of Friday, June 5th, a man named Arthur called police
Boom!
his friend, 19-year-old Larry Raines, had confessed to murdering multiple people.
Motherfucking cat! Boom!
Arthur said that Larry showed him a
Feed you
pistol
when I'm ready to feed you. I'm eating too.
priest before taking his own life. Police took Arthur's report seriously and they sent a car to his location. When police arrived on the scene, they found Larry Raines exiting the building. Officers asked him if he were responsible for killing Gary Smith, and Larry responded, "That school teacher? Yeah, I did it." They asked him where the gun was, and he said, "In my pocket." The .22 caliber pistol was confiscated and sent to the state police headquarters for a firearms
I'm
comparison
fucking
test.
retarded.
Larry was immediately taken into custody, and rather than asking for a lawyer, he started talking. On the way to the police station, Larry admitted to 4 additional murders.
Damn!
He
He's a
asked to
serial
speak with
killer.
someone, not a lawyer like you'd
Oh,
expect,
brother.
but he wanted to see a priest. Shortly after arriving at the station, he met and spoke privately with a priest for about an hour. Immediately thereafter, it was informed that he had a right to an attorney. Larry waived this right, and then, during a 3-hour interview, he confessed to killing Gary Smith and 4 other people. He said the motive in all the killings was robbery. Larry told police that on the 29th he had plans to hitch a ride to Indianapolis to rob someone there, but his plans changed when Gary picked him up. Gary offered him a ride to Plainwell. When they came to the US 31 cutoff and Gary was going to let him out of the car, Larry pulled a gun and forced Gary to keep driving. Gary drove west on M43 until Larry told him to drive down a wooded lane. Then he forced Gary into the trunk of his own car. Larry got behind the wheel and sped off, but Gary was banging around in the trunk. After Larry got onto the highway, he stopped the car and opened the trunk. He told Gary to be quiet, but he persisted in yelling and pounding. He wanted out of the trunk. So Larry tied Gary's hands with rope he found in the car and then shot him with his pistol. Larry then took the cash from Gary's wallet, which was about $3. He also took his watch and his shoes. He took his shoes because they looked expensive and Larry wanted them. When police found Larry, he was wearing Gary's stolen shoes. Later, Gary's watch was found in Larry's apartment. After shooting Gary, Larry got back in the car and drove to a filling station in Elkhart, Indiana. There, Larry shot and killed the store attendant and robbed the store of around $100. After killing the attendant, Larry drove Gary's car to an area just outside of Kalamazoo and abandoned it. Police later told the public they had been so busy investigating Gary's murder that they hadn't gotten into looking at the fueling station attendant's murder yet. The police knew the attendant's name was Charles Edward Snyder Sr. He'd been murdered at an Imperial Oil filling station on Indiana Route 19, a heavily traveled bypass, just 3 miles from the Michigan state line. Snyder was a Korean War veteran and had only worked at the filling station for about a month. The employee that he replaced, well, he quit working there after being robbed twice. During his interview at the police station, Larry confessed to murdering 3 other people. He didn't know their names, but he said they included an airman at a filling station near Battle Creek, someone at a filling station in Las Vegas, Nevada, and another person at a filling station in Kentucky. He really didn't know many more details than that. While the information Larry provided was at best vague, police were able to piece together that the airman was Vernon Llewellyn LeBen. LeBen was an Air Force veteran and worked at the Custer Air Force Base at Battle Creek, and he was employed at a filling station near Battle Creek. LeBen was saving up for a house and a honeymoon for his fiancée, Nancy. The couple would never have the chance to get married. In addition to working 2 jobs, LeBen was also taking classes at Battle Creek Community College. Following their interview with Larry, Michigan police contacted authorities in Nevada and Kentucky to let them know Larry had confessed to killing people in those states. They said they weren't sure of the victims' names, but authorities from both states were welcome to come and question Larry. Larry was ultimately charged with murder, and murder while perpetrating an armed robbery in the death of Gary. It doesn't look like he was charged in Charles Snyder's murder. Ballistics tests eventually linked the murder of Gary and the .22 caliber pistol found on Larry when he was taken into custody. And yes, this Gary-Larry rhyming situation is a little bit confusing, but we're almost done with this section, so please bear with me.
Move!
Other evidence, a fingerprint on Gary's gear shift, was also matched to Larry. In the weeks following Larry being taken into custody for Gary's murder, Larry underwent 2 psychiatric examinations. The trial of Larry Raines for the murder of Gary Smock got underway September 29, 1964. The prosecution argued that Larry knew right from wrong when he murdered Gary Smock. He killed Gary as part of a robbery because Larry needed money for his girlfriend. The prosecution was allowed to introduce the fact that while in custody, Larry admitted to shooting not just Gary but other people. The prosecution had Dr. William Decker, the clinical director at Kalamazoo State Hospital, testify. He said that Larry was sane at the time of the murder. The prosecution also had Dr. Clarence M. Schreier, medical superintendent of the Kalamazoo State Hospital, take the stand. He also said Larry was sane at the time of the murder. The defense argued that Larry was on, quote, unsound mind that he killed Gary, and that Larry was motivated by an irresistible urge to kill. The defense brought up Larry's childhood, describing it as a constant picture of rejection, from the father who abandoned him to the mother who worked all the time. The defense called one of Larry's sisters and his brother Danny, who testified about the challenges of their childhood and how much Larry hated their father. The Range Patriarch was operating a service station down in Florida, the career he chose after abandoning his wife and 4 children. The defense had Dr. Donald Carrick, a University of Michigan psychiatrist, take the stand. Carrick said that Larry didn't know right from wrong when he killed Gary Smock, and that made him legally insane. Dr. Carrick said that Gary presented a father image to Larry. That's why he killed him. At one point, the defense went to read a psychiatrist's report dealing with Larry's need to get money so he could support his girlfriend. Larry had an outburst in the courtroom. He jumped to his feet and shouted, "You're not going to read it. Don't read it." The judge ordered him to sit down and be quiet. Larry said, "I'm not going to sit down," and he's not reading that name. You see, at that point, the girlfriend's name had not been revealed inside the courtroom. Only details about her reason, like how she'd been divorced 3 times, was at least 12 years older than Larry. He had been associated with her since he was a young man. In a 1986 interview with Larry given to the Detroit Free Press, Raines revealed that starting when he was 13 years old, he would climb out his window at night and go to this woman's home. She was the mother of 3 toddler-aged kids, and once the kids were in bed, the 2 of them would listen to music, and eventually they became lovers. When he was 19, he asked her to marry him, and she declined. After being rejected, he punched the wall on the way out of her apartment. At trial, Larry Raines would be found guilty of first-degree murder and murder during the robbery. He was sentenced to life without parole. The judge said the jury reached their verdict without difficulty. With Larry securely behind bars for the murder of father and schoolteacher Gary Smock, authorities continued looking at Larry for the other murders he'd confessed to. The Kentucky State Police spoke with Larry, and he confessed to the April 20th robbery and murder of Charlie Sizemore at F&F Tire Company, an all-night filling station about 2 miles south of Manchester, Kentucky. Charlie Sizemore was a World War II veteran and farmer. On April 20th, he was found on the floor of the filling station. He'd been shot twice in the back of the head with a .22 caliber weapon. While he was rushed to the hospital for medical care, he didn't make it. Larry admitted that yes, he'd committed that murder and stole about $150. He used the money to finance his travels to Miami, Florida, where he abandoned the car that he'd stolen. On November 9th, Larry was charged with the murder of Charlie Sizemore, but it doesn't appear that he was ever taken to trial for this murder or anyone else's. It doesn't look like he was tied to any murders in Nevada. Later, Larry's convictions and sentences for the murder of Gary Smock were overturned due to the fact that he wasn't allowed to speak to an attorney before undergoing psychiatric tests shortly after his arrest. See, he confessed to the murders in these tests, and his confessions were introduced at trial. He had asked for an attorney before undergoing the tests, but the request was denied. After the convictions were overturned, Larry then pled guilty to a murder charge and was resentenced to life in prison. Remember, Michigan does not have the death penalty, so that was never an option in his case. Before we change gears and take a look at Danny's crimes, let's get a word from today's sponsor.
Did you know age is one of the most common causes of dry eyes because we can produce fewer tears as we get older? If you're suffering from irritated eyes, a daily refresh with the Refresh Opti Omega-3 Lubricant Eye Drops, preservative-free formula provides fast, thick, lasting relief. These artificial tears deliver enhanced hydration that nourishes the eye surface to help protect your natural tears from evaporating. Specially crafted with inactive ingredients like natural plant-based oil and antioxidants and enhanced with moisture locking technology, this triple action formula works to soothe symptoms and prevent further irritation. Refresh Opti Mega 3 is safe to use as often as needed. Find your refresh online or in the iDrop aisle at your favorite drugstore, grocery, Walmart, or Target. It's true that some things change as we get older. But if you're a woman over 40 and you're dealing with insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, weight gain, you don't have to accept it as just another part of aging. And with MIDI help, you can get help and stop pushing through it. The experts at MIDI understand that all these symptoms can be connected to the hormonal changes that happen around menopause, and MIDI can help you manage. Many healthcare providers aren't trained to treat or even recognize menopause symptoms. MIDI clinicians are menopause experts. They're dedicated to providing safe, effective, FDA-approved solutions for dozens of recurring symptoms, not just options. Most importantly, they're covered by insurance. 91% of MIDI patients get relief from symptoms with insurance. Wait, book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com. On November 27, 1968, just 4 years after Larry was convicted of murder, his brother Danny kidnapped a 17-year-old girl named Dorothy. Dorothy was a freshman at Kellogg Community College, and she was a graduate at Penfield High School. It was around 7 p.m., so likely cold dark outside, when Dorothy left her job at Cubby's drugstore on 4th Block of Northeast Penfield Avenue. She was just getting ready to put the car in gear and drive away when a man knocked on the window. Dorothy lowered the window and he asked for the location of the drugstore's room entrance. She pointed to the door and the grace of the window. Again, he tapped on the window, and again she lowered it, about 6 inches. This time, he pointed a gun at her through the opening and told Dorothy to move over. The man got in the car and drove off, forcing her to lie down on the floor. She complained that it was hard to lie down because she had a leg operation, so he wanted her to sit in the seat. The man said he wanted money, however, he did not drive her. He drove her around 10 blocks to the Kellogg Community College service, but stopped because he said he'd made a wrong turn. Dorothy was sitting near the passenger side door, and when he stopped, she jumped out of the car and ran. She was screaming for help. The man didn't follow her. Instead, he drove away. Kellogg Community College student came to the scene after hearing Dorothy's cries, and upon hearing her story, they called the police. When Dorothy told police the man had left his car in the parking lot near Cubby's,
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. This one is financial geniuses. These are things people say about drivers who switch from car insurance to Progressive to save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you can save. Progressive Insurance is an affiliate of Dick Savings Very Support.
Ребята, objective construct is now under our control. Target this objective. Listen up. Objective Bravo neutralized. Lose your position. I have eyes on the enemy helicopter. Ребята, we have control of objective Bravo. Attack this objective. Exit the vehicle. I've spotted an enemy vehicle operating east of your position. Men, attempt to this objective. Listen up. I've spotted a hostile helicopter due east of where you are. Objective Bravo is neutralized. There appears to be a hostile anti-tank soldier due south of your location.
Saved it. My name's Daryl. I'm from Massachusetts, and I moved to there's a lot of people that like
We have now control of objective Gulf. The control for objective Gulf is now gone. Without control objective Foxtrot. Enemy takes the lead in your current position.
Last night, it was amazing. So we had 10 or 15 tornado warnings.
There is a
This
hostile
never seeming they never stopped. But we dodged the bad parts and we're good. So no damage that I could hear in my place anyway. And that worked out really well. I'm happy that we got that control. So anyway, everything else is good though, man. You know, it's good. We're plugging along, keeping an eye out. Hey, anxious eye on ticket sales for the UK. For sure. Not to mention we had a real good house in Detroit. So everything seems to be putting off pretty well, Tommy.
Hey, I'm excited for you guys. It seems like every time you turn around, there's more great news. Of course, you heard Tony's big announcement this past Wednesday. And of course, that is the buzz of all the wrestling. And of course, we're still on our march for Double or Nothing. It's going to be here before you know it at the end of the month. Tickets are still on sale. AEWTIX.com. That's AEWTIX.com. Of course, we don't want to miss the voice of wrestling for our guys each and every Friday on Rampage. So be sure to check him out when he's coming to your town. And man, talk about the response we got from last week's episode. I was over the moon with last week's show because it was so different than what we're going to do. You know, we normally talk about the ins and outs of what was going on in the business of professional wrestling over the last, 30 years or so. But we went way back to the 70s where it all started for you. And you got to just tell some stories, and some of those stories were kind of dark. We called the episode in hindsight, Dark Side of this film. It wasn't exactly the original idea, but man, the overwhelming feedback. That's all I saw. What'd you say?
A lot of feedback. Hope it translates to a lot of views and maybe some new viewers. So hopefully you can check it out on YouTube. That's for. I was very impressed what we did last week. It's a good show. And as you said, it didn't start off that way. It didn't start off this is what we're going to do today. Right. We had no script. We just script all the places and landed on some very controversial topics that were all true. Many sad. And you wonder how well the business could thrive. If it really did thrive, I don't know if it thrived, but it's just hard to predict what that show was going to be like. But once we got into it, it seemed to flow like a snowball. So all good. I've heard police next on all the books watching and listening. So that's all cool.
Super cool. We're going to pick it up here next month. But today, we're going back 20 years. We're talking about Judgment Day, 2003. It didn't feel like that 20 years ago, but here we go. And there's a lot going on. You know, we're picking up the pieces from WrestleMania 19. We covered that recently in the archive, so I'll go ahead and check that out. GrillingJR on YouTube.com. That's GrillingJR on YouTube.com. But we've got some big changes in the company. Steve Austin is now officially retired. And, I mean, he has been the torchbearer for this thing. I guess you could go back and say as far as 1997. Now we're going to get to see what wrestling looks like without Steve Austin, which, golly, he was so young at the time. And by the way, more things change, more they stay the same. We got a new sheriff in town. Goldberg is now with the company. He's actually going to take on and defeat The Rock at Backlash. We'll cover that in our Goldberg episode as well as all the silly issues with the Goldust angle. But over on SmackDown, Brock Lesnar is now the WWE champ. And Kurt Angle is off with neck surgery. Vince McMahon has hired Hulk Hogan in storyline. Now we have this mysterious newcomer calling himself Mr. America. Roddy Piper is also back with the WWE full-time on a more regular basis on the heels of WrestleMania. And what do you know? Social is back on SmackDown too. Lots of resets here, man. Kurt's out, Rock's gone, Austin's retired, Goldberg's here. A lot of moving parts in 03. Fair to say?
Yeah, very fair. And adjustments. You know, here's the thing. You don't replace a guy like Austin, right?